There is a moment that I think every high-achieving woman has experienced. Things are going really well. Your business is gaining momentum. Your relationship feels close and easy. Your health is improving. You feel something that almost makes you nervous to name because you do not want to jinx it. You feel happy. Like genuinely, deeply happy. And then, almost on cue, something goes sideways. You pick a fight with your partner for no reason you can explain. You start sleeping terribly. You get sick. You make a careless business decision. You suddenly feel completely overwhelmed and start pulling back on everything that was working. It is like there is a hand on your shoulder pulling you back every time you try to move forward. I used to think that was just the nature of life. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That is just how it goes. But I want to tell you today that thinking is not true, and it has been keeping you smaller than you were ever meant to be. Today, I want to go deep into mindset. So many of my clients are high-achieving studio owners or business owners, and they say some of the same things. They hit a ceiling in their revenue. They start to focus so much on their business that their health suffers or their relationships suffer. I once heard Shonda Rhimes say, at the height of her many ABC hit shows, that it's hard to keep all the balls in the air all the time. And the important part is to know which are glass. In other words, which balls can't be dropped at any given time. As part of this, I want to talk to you today about one of my all-time favorite books. It is Gay Hendricks' The Big Leap, published in 2009. If you have not read it, I can't recommend it enough. I was first introduced to The Big Leap around 2011, and I still read it at least once every summer, as I find that as I break through one limit, there's often another right around the corner. This episode is based on some of my biggest learnings from The Big Leap, but also so many programs on meditation, manifestation, worthiness, and just becoming the best version of our future selves. This episode is for the woman who is smart, driven, and doing the work, and she keeps bumping into a ceiling that she cannot quite see. Gay Hendricks is a psychologist who received his PhD in counseling psychology from Stanford University. He spent over 21 years as a professor at the University of Colorado and has spent his career coaching more than 800 executives at companies like Dell, Hewlett-Packard, and Motorola. He wrote The Big Leap after identifying a pattern in himself and in almost every high achiever he had ever worked with. He called it the upper limit problem. The core idea is that every one of us has an internal thermostat, not a temperature thermostat, a happiness thermostat, a success thermostat, a love thermostat. And that thermostat is set to a very specific level, a level that feels familiar and safe based on what we grew up believing we deserved. When we push past that level, when things get better than our internal setting can tolerate, our subconscious kicks in and brings us back down. It does this through some version of self-sabotage. And most of us never realize we are the ones turning down the heat. Hendricks identified 4 hidden barriers that create the upper limit problem. 4 core fears that lie underneath the self-sabotage. The first one is feeling fundamentally flawed, or not feeling worthy of the life that you truly desire. This is the deep, quiet belief that something is wrong with you, that you are too much, not enough, broken in some way that means you do not really deserve the beautiful life you keep reaching for. People with this barrier often hit a wall when things get too good, because some part of them believes they will eventually be found out. The second barrier is the fear of disloyalty and abandonment. This is the belief that if you become too successful, too happy, too free, you will leave your people behind. I know I have experienced this in some ways in my life. I felt guilty about how hard my parents worked to give me all the blessings and advantages that I had. Yet really, they made all those sacrifices so I would have a better life than they did. The third barrier is the belief that more success brings a bigger burden. I deal with this every day. I had a period of time when, with my 2 studios and my consulting business, We were at $1 million in revenue and had a staff of between 25 and 40 people at any given time. It was an amazing time in my life, yet it certainly brought more work and responsibility. After selling the studios, I had to recalibrate what level of income and responsibility I wanted to live with. In the same way, some people subconsciously believe that every step up comes with more stress, more responsibility, more pressure, more complexity. So as soon as they get close to a new level, they start creating chaos that pulls them back down. Not because they want to fail, but because some part of them believes that succeeding means suffering. The fourth barrier is what Hendricks calls the crime of outshining. This is the belief that if you shine too brightly, if you become too visible, too successful, too happy, you will somehow make others feel bad about their own lives. And many of us, especially women, were taught from a very young age not to take up too much space, not to overshadow, not to want too much. So we shrink, we minimize, we hold back. One of my core memories from childhood was in second grade, I would get my work done and be bored, and would get in trouble for talking to the other kids. My teacher would put me in a corner of the students so I had less people to talk to. She kept telling me to sit down and shut up. Instead of playing to my strengths and giving me another book to read or something else to learn, she said I was the problem. And that lesson has followed me for much of my life. Now, I hate to be the center of attention. I want to sit in the background and just do the work. I want you to sit with those four, because I can almost guarantee that at least one of them lives in you. Maybe two, maybe all four. I definitely can say that I have experienced all four, and am still working through all those challenges on a daily basis. Here is where the science becomes incredibly important, because I want you to understand that this is not a character flaw. This is biology and programming, and it can be changed. Research in neuroscience and cell biology has established that the most powerful programming of the subconscious mind occurs in the first 7 years of life. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a stem cell biologist who performed groundbreaking research at Stanford University, explains in his work, The Biology of Belief, that children in those early years are primarily in a theta brainwave state. Theta is the same state associated with hypnosis and deep meditation. It is a highly receptive, highly programmable state. Everything a child observes and hears during those years goes directly into the subconscious mind without a filter. That means everything your parents believed about money, love, success, safety, and worthiness was downloaded directly into you before you were old enough to question any of it. Before you even had the capacity to say, wait, is that actually true? I don't know about you, but my parents were always saying, you have to work hard for your money. Money doesn't grow on trees. That has absolutely framed my early beliefs on hard work and money. Lipton's work suggests that roughly 95% of the time, we are operating not from our conscious mind, the part that sets intentions and makes plans, but from that early subconscious programming. So you can want something with your whole conscious heart. You can vision board it, journal it, and hustle toward it every single day. But if your subconscious is running a program that says you do not deserve it, you will keep self-sabotaging your way right back to the level that program considers safe. A 2023 article published in Psychology Today by Dr. Valentina Stoycheva describes self-sabotage as an unconscious survival strategy rooted in early adversity. Studies published in journals including Philosophical Psychology show that self-sabotaging behavior often functions as a mechanism to protect fragile self-esteem. Your subconscious is trying to protect you. It just has a very outdated definition of what safety means. Neuroscience research on the amygdala and threat response, including an fMRI study published in Cerebral Cortex in 2010, shows that uncertainty activates the brain's threat response. And for many of us, success feels uncertain. Love feels uncertain. Visibility feels uncertain. So our nervous system treats those things as danger, even when our conscious mind desperately wants them. And this is where the connection to manifestation becomes so powerful. One of the other neuropsychology concepts that I have spent a lot of time in is in the Lacey Phillips To Be Magnetic program, a manifestation framework that has served tens of thousands of people worldwide and is grounded in neuroscience, psychology, and what she calls neural manifestation. She works alongside Dr. Swart, a neuroscientist and advisor, to make sure the science is sound. And Lacey's core teaching is this: we do not manifest from our thoughts. We manifest from our subconscious beliefs. Specifically, we manifest from our level of worthiness. This is what I think is the most important idea achieving our goals. You cannot call in something that you do not believe, at a cellular, subconscious level, that you deserve. You can say the affirmations. You can do the visualization. But if underneath all of that is a belief that people like you do not get to have that kind of love, that kind of success, that kind of freedom, you will keep upper limiting yourself right out of it. Lacey describes her process as one of unblocking. Before you can manifest what you want, you have to clear the subconscious beliefs that are blocking it. Her framework uses what she calls deep imaginings, which are a form of guided visualization similar to EMDR and hypnosis, to access and reprogram those early subconscious programs. And this aligns perfectly with what Lipton describes as one of the 3 primary ways to access and change the subconscious mind: hypnotic and theta state work, repetition, and what he calls energy psychology. The To Be Magnetic framework also introduces a concept called expanders. An expander is a real person, someone you identify with, someone who used to be where you are now, who has already achieved what you are calling in. The reason expanders work is neurological. When your brain sees someone it identifies with having something, it creates a new reference point. It opens a pathway that says, oh, if they can have that, maybe I can too. And that is when the subconscious begins to shift. Let me tell you about a client I will call Renee. She represents a pattern I see in women all the time. Renee was building a health coaching business. She was talented, educated, deeply passionate about the work. Every time she got close to her first 6-figure year, something would happen. She would get sick and have to cancel all her launches. She would have a major conflict with her spouse that consumed all her energy. She would suddenly doubt her offer and tear it apart and rebuild it from scratch. Again and again and again. When Renee started exploring her upper limit pattern, she identified 2 of Hendricks's 4 barriers immediately. One was the fear of outshining. Her mother had struggled financially her entire life. Her grandmother had worked multiple jobs just to survive. There was an unspoken rule in her family that wanting financial abundance was greedy, that making more than the people around her meant she was forgetting where she came from. The second was the fear of burden. Growing up, every good thing in Renee's life had come with a cost. She had been taught that success required suffering. So as she got close to the income level she had always wanted, her nervous system said, "This is about to get very hard." And her subconscious started creating the chaos that would bring her back to the familiar. When Renee began doing the belief work alongside the upper limit awareness, specifically identifying and releasing the stories she had inherited about money, success, and worthiness, things began to shift. She found expanders, women who had grown up in similar circumstances, who had built thriving businesses without betraying their roots. She started seeing her mother's story not as a ceiling, but as a story that ended with her. She crossed 6 figures within 8 months of doing that inner work consistently. The outer work had not changed. She had always been skilled. The inner programming had. Now let me address some of the myths and mistakes that keep smart women stuck in this cycle. The biggest myth is that self-sabotage is about laziness or lack of motivation. It is not. The women I see upper limiting are often the hardest working women in any room. They are not afraid of effort. They are afraid of worthiness. There is a profound difference. When you understand that, you stop beating yourself up for the behavior and start getting curious about the belief underneath it. The second mistake is trying to think your way out of a subconscious pattern. You cannot out-logic a belief that lives below the level of logic. You can journal affirmations every morning and your subconscious can still be running a program that says those affirmations are lies. The work has to go deeper than thought. It has to reach the programs. The third mistake is waiting until you feel worthy to pursue what you want. This is backwards. Worthiness is built through action, through evidence, through experiencing that you can survive expansion, not through waiting for a feeling to arrive before you begin. You do not wait until you feel ready. You move in the direction of what you want while simultaneously doing the belief work, and you let the two meet each other. The fourth myth is that manifestation is about positive thinking. Both of my mentors would tell you that is not the mechanism. Hendricks would say the work is about identifying where your thermostat is set and consciously raising it. Phillips would say the work is about clearing the subconscious blocks that prevent your worthiness from being available to receive what you are calling in. Neither of these is about forcing positivity over pain. Both require courage and honesty. So let me give you the roadmap. Here is where to start. Step 1. For the next 7 days, start a simple upper limit journal. Every time something good happens, notice what follows. Did you pick a fight? Get sick? Start worrying about something unrelated. Pull back from your work. Procrastinate on something important. You are not looking for dramatic evidence. You are looking for small patterns. When do you seem to create friction right after things go well? Begin to identify your personal upper limit signature. That pattern is the doorway to everything. Step 2. Within the next 2 weeks, identify which of Hendricks's 4 barriers resonates most for you. You do not have to be certain. Just notice which one creates the most charge when you read it. Feeling fundamentally flawed, fear of disloyalty or abandonment, the belief that success brings burden, the fear of outshining. Sit with that barrier. Write about where it came from, whose voice is attached to it. How old is the version of you who first decided this was true? This is not about blame. It is about clarity. Step 3. Beginning this week, find one expander, one real person, someone you genuinely identify with, someone whose life and choices feel authentic to who you are, who has what you are calling in. This is not someone you envy in a painful way. This is someone whose success makes you feel expanded rather than diminished. Follow their story. Let your nervous system see the proof that what you want is possible for someone like you. Step 4. Starting today, begin saying this out loud every morning. One sentence. Hendricks teaches a mantra he calls the ultimate success mantra. The language is simple. I expand in abundance, success, and love every day as I inspire those around me to do the same. Say it not because it instantly feels true, but to begin building a new neural pathway. Repetition is one of the primary ways the adult brain reprograms the subconscious. You are not lying to yourself. You are introducing a new instruction set. Step 5. Consider going deeper. The Big Leap is a book you can read in a weekend, and it will change the way you see yourself for the rest of your life. If you want support with the inner child and nervous system layers of this, working with a coach or practitioner trained in somatic work, EMDR, or trauma-informed coaching, can accelerate the process significantly. The outer work matters. The inner work is what makes it stick. Here is what I want to leave you with today. The ceiling you keep bumping into is not made of glass. It is not permanent. It is made of programming that was installed in you before you knew you had a choice about it. And the most powerful thing you can do right now is stop calling it a character flaw and start calling it what it is: an old belief that no longer serves the woman you are becoming. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not destined to stay small. You have simply been running software that was written for a much younger version of you, by people who were running their own outdated programs. You get to rewrite it, starting today.
I will see you in the next episode.